Hi, you're listening to the Professional Speaks podcast with me, Craig McKellar, your host. As an ex-Big Four auditor for 6 years, I now run a specialist recruitment consultancy called McKellar Consulting. Throughout this podcast, I speak to senior leaders from the professional services community, past, present and future. These leaders work in accounting and finance, audit, tax, corporate finance, consulting, legal and investments. In the comfort of their own office, I will be posing questions to our guests to gain insights from them across a variety of topics, including balancing work and life, mental health and mindset, risk-taking, and effective leadership. These insights will help us learn, be inspired, grow, and ultimately succeed in what we want to achieve in our careers. Here's what's coming up on today's episode.
At the beginning, Thankbox was simply aimed to replace the paper card. But our customers showed us that feature of Thankbox, that Thankbox is used as an appreciation platform. And both Val and I feel really strongly about appreciation, showing appreciation, being grateful, and what that means for the person giving appreciation, but also receiving appreciation and their well-being. We both feel really strong about this part. So it was great to see how our business actually aligned with our personal values and our customers aligned with our personal values. And we've got lovely thank boxes which show those amazing teams that are not just teams, they're friends, they're connected within each other, and you feel like I want to go and work for that team, like I want to be part of that team. There's thank boxes that say thank you for helping me through a difficult time, thank you for bringing me coffee when I feel down. It doesn't have to be a huge thing.
In this episode, I'm joined by Tsvetelina, who is co-founder and director at Thankbox, which is an online card and cash collection service. We explore her career journey to date across audit and finance, as well as launching her own business and the positive impact it is having on the well-being of workers. So Tsvetelina, thanks so much for coming on the Professional Speaks podcast. Just for those people that don't know you, and just as a small introduction, you're co-founder and director of Thankbox, which is an online card and cash collection service.
Yes.
Would you say that?
Yeah,
is that right? Yes. Thanks for coming through to Glasgow and coming on. So it'll be great to hear a bit more about that, and we will chat about that as well. But first, if we could just hear a bit about who you are and a bit about your background and things like that, would be great.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. So I come from Bulgaria. I come from a small picturesque town in the center of Bulgaria called Veliko Tarnovo. That's where I grew up. I spent my childhood there and my school years there. I used to be a very active kid with attending all the possible sports activities. I used to lead dancing classes. I wasn't great at sport, but dancing was completely different for me. So I loved it when I led the classes there. I used to go to every possible camp that you can think of. I was a secretary for the student council in the town, and I used to organize a lot of charity events to help the schools with less finances in the town. I used to go to a leadership camp for girls during the summer, organized by the Peace Corps. So very active kid. I don't know how my parents kept up with me. I just wanted to do everything and to try everything. My parents and my in-laws still live in Veliko Tarnovo, so we go often back there, especially during the summer months when it's nice and warm. When I was 15, I started working at an energy company during the summer, and I was their account assistant, or a similar job to that title. I used to handle invoices, prepare them, make sure that they're paid on time. And I think that's when I started really enjoying the financial side of running a business. That's the first time when I realized I've got an analytical brain and maybe I'll be good as a finance professional. And this is why I ended up applying for the Finance and Business program at Sofia University. Sofia is the capital of Bulgaria, and that was one of the best programs in the country. And this is how my finance journey began.
Great. So then you, so you did that university, and then when was it you became a chartered accountant, or how did that start?
So that basically comes with my move to Scotland. So I came to Scotland 12 years ago. It's been a long time now. But I had a quite different journey coming to Scotland. I had my 3 years at my home university, and I actually transferred into Abertay University for my last year. I still don't know how that worked out. I had to engage all my negotiation skills to create the relationship between my home university and Abertay and convince them that everything I studied back home was applicable to the program at Abertay, and all my credits got transferred, and I luckily got accepted into fourth year rather than having to repeat any of my previous years. So again, I still don't know how that worked out, but it worked out, and I was extremely happy. And then I came to Scotland and I realized that my English was not great. I remember going to my first lecture, and it was a professor from Glasgow with a very strong accent, and I came out and cried because I understood nothing. So at that point, I basically knew that I have to change something, and I threw myself into every possible challenge there was, every possible competition, IBM challenge, CIMA challenge, anything that I can do, any engagement that I can have with the lecturers, any extra classes, anything that could help me first to become more comfortable with my English, second to find my peers, because I knew nobody apart from my boyfriend at the time, husband to be. So I knew I had a lot of work to do to be able to write my dissertation, to graduate from the uni and to find a job. And I was already a few years behind my peers. So yeah, I just did everything I could, and it worked. Like, I graduated with a first. I really enjoyed writing my dissertation. But I remember at the time, I really wanted to work for the Big Four. It didn't matter which one at the time, but I just knew that this will give me the best start to my career and will help me, guide me in what direction I want to go next. And I remember going to a student advisor. I can't remember if that was the role, but it was somebody who basically helped you find your role, your best role. And I remember her telling me that I'm best to go back home and apply for the Big Four because I've got no chance with the background I had. Luckily, that didn't stop me, but instead it motivated me to apply and to really prepare. So again, I read everything there was about how to do well in interviews, what the PwC interviews were like, or the Big Four interviews were like. And I practiced, and luckily I got the job, and I even got the partner from my final interview to help me with my dissertation. So he gave me a few quotes, which was great. But that's how I ended up as an associate at PwC.
So that was in audit.
That was in audit.
That was in audit, yeah, and trained there as an ICAS student. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So no, that's really interesting, and really. It's really interesting to get an insight into your personality there as well, in terms of, not letting, I guess, possible barriers and restrictions kind of hold you back, but you kind of drove forward. Where does that come from, would you say? Just always kind of been like that, if you've been told no or something's too difficult, it's not kind of put you off? Oh
yeah, I kind of hope people tell me no so I can prove them wrong.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing. I call it the force. I call that side of me the force, and it could be a great thing, and it can take me through a lot of challenges, but also sometimes I need to tone it down because I understand not everyone has a force like that, and I need to make sure that I don't pressure people into bringing their force out. So a good and a bad comes with it, but I've always been like that. My parents have been very hardworking, very supportive of me, and always believe that I can do better. And I think that belief I carry with me and pushes me to do better every time.
Great. No, so I guess going forward as well from your time at PwC, if you mind just giving us, walking through your career journey as well, up to the point of launching Thankbox.
Yes, of course. So I started at PwC as an associate. I spent there 3 years. When I started with PwC, I joined the financial services team purely because I knew nothing about it. I had experience with industry jobs or product-related jobs, but I had no experience with financial services. So I wanted to learn, I wanted to understand. And again, with that thinking in my head that this will help me determine what I want to do for my future. I loved my 3 years at PwC. PwC is amazing, not just to help you with the qualification and to learn a lot about other businesses, but it gives you a lot of soft skills, like to be adaptable, to teach you that there's always a way. You can always find a way, to teach you to quickly absorb information, to be able to shift between different teams, different clients quickly. These are skills that help you greatly in your career, and especially when you run your own business. And so really grateful for my time there. But I guess towards my third year, I realized that I needed to go into the detail of how you run a business, and to understand how the decisions that you normally see the end of as an auditor, how they've been made and what they were driven by. So at that point, I started looking for a different job. And I remember going to a presentation organized by a recruitment agency, and the presenter was the CFO of Black Circles. And I remember seeing her and her passion and hearing about her path. And I remember just thinking, I want to work for you. I want to learn from you, because I was looking for that role model who can show me the strength and the growth that you can have in a career. So I quickly went onto their web page and basically saw they had an opening, and I applied for it. I got the job, and I started as a financial accountant. And over my 5 years at Black Circles, I went through almost all stages of the finance team. I started from a financial accountant, and I finished as head of FP&A and part of the management team, and just learned a huge amount. The Black Circle was run as a startup, and everyone there was devoted, energetic. They were it was such a fast-driven pace. Like, you had to be adaptable, and there was a lot of learning for me. Coming from audit, you've got a huge amount of knowledge, but you don't know how to run the specific finance team. We went through a lot of changes within the team, and I had to very quickly learn and adapt to those changes happening. But it was a fantastic experience, gave me lots of things that I still apply in today in my business.
Yeah, and just going back a step, when you were saying, coming towards the end of your training at PwC, you were looking for a job because you wanted to understand a bit more about running a business. Why was that? Was that because, did you have a goal of having your own business one day, or was it just purely out of interest? What was maybe the reason?
It was purely out of interest. I never ever until Thankbox saw myself as a potential business owner.
Yeah.
I had it in my head. I'm heading towards the CFO role, and I knew the steps to get there. I had my plan. I was so laser focused on that I didn't see any opportunities. And actually, I had a mentorship session with the previous CEO of Black Circles, who kindly gave me his time. And I remember him asking me the question of, have you ever considered a COO role or a CEO role? Because I think you'll be good at it. And I was like, no, that's not my path. Why would I consider it? But I think after that, it started opening my mind that there's other opportunities and there's other things that I enjoy. So I think it was just pure interest at the time that I wanted to learn more.
Yeah.
And not because I thought I'll get to be a business owner at some point.
Yeah. Okay, and going back to what you were saying about Black Circles then, in terms of the environment there, the culture, you progressed from accountant to head of FP&A, sounds like an amazing time and experience. So, looking back now, what did that opportunity give you in terms of, what you learned that, obviously has helped you with Thankbox so far?
Yes, of course. Again, Black Circle was run as a startup. Despite the size of it, despite being part of such a big group as Michelin, the decisions were made quickly. It was fast-paced. Everybody was so energetic. The atmosphere was really exciting. But if I can pinpoint a few things that I definitely learned at Black Circles and I apply in my business today, that'll probably be the customer orientation and the data-driven decisions. From a customer point, for Black Circles, the customer always came first. They made sure that the customer felt special, that looked after, that all of their issues are sorted as quickly as possible and with the right solutions. But also they introduced me to a term called magic moments, which basically entails sending something special to the customer that they don't expect. Whether that is when you sort their issue and you give them a little voucher for next time, or you send them a gift as a surprise, it doesn't matter, but just making them feel that bit extra looked after. And that attitude towards customers is something that we apply in Black Circles, in Thankbox today. We care about our customers. A lot of our features that we implement in Thankbox come from our customer interviews. We conduct lots of customer interviews. We have a few a month. Every month we are very consistent with that, and we value the feedback that we get from customers a lot. We don't make decisions just because we believe something is good. We go and ask our customers, what do you think? Because we really believe that we want to make their life easier and valuable. They're so busy. We don't want them spending hundreds of hours on a platform. We want to be quick and to solve their problems as quick as possible, as easy as possible for them. So we trust their opinion. We go back to them, and I've started introducing my own magic moments now as well. I look into different categories like special titles, funny titles, even sometimes of thank boxes that I send a little something to the customer. It could be just a note saying, "I've noticed you. I saw your thank box. That must have meant a lot to the person receiving it." But it's that gratitude that we express to our customers because they genuinely do mean a lot to us. And then from a data-driven perspective, at Black Circles, all decisions were made based on data. And that meant that the gut feel, which is fantastic, but it was left behind a little bit. It was the data that drove your decision, not because you had a hinge. And so that was something that really clicked with my head, like with my personality, and it's something that I do at Thankbox as well. And we always, when we make decisions, we always ask the question, why are we doing it? What's the goal? What's the outcome that we're looking for? And what's the data to show us that this outcome is possible? And that really helps you to focus, because as an entrepreneur, you've got this thing called opportunity hungry. You're constantly looking for the next exciting thing to do, for the next flashy thing, and you can get really distracted. But when you've got the structure and the data behind it, it helps you stay focused with your decision making and with the next features that you're looking at.
No, great. And I think a lot of people would agree, to make decisions based on kind of data and proof as well. And that, I guess when you look at whether something has worked out or not, you can look at the data even more, drill down and what were we seeing there. So how did Thankbox thing come about? So, you're at Black Circles, you've progressed, you've learned all this, you've been told maybe look at the CEO path or, owner managed path, but you didn't think that was. So, how did you go from Black Circles to full-time Thankbox?
It was an interesting journey. The idea of Thankbox came at the dinner table. We were just sitting, the three of us, my husband, me and my daughter, and we were chatting, just chatting about businesses and business opportunities. My daughter's quite creative. She talks about space hotels and things like that. And then my husband and I were kind of expressing that frustration of having to go to the shop, buy a card, pass it around the office, make sure the person doesn't see it, get the brown envelope, the coins in, but nobody has cash anymore. And for something that's supposed to be special and make that person happy, it takes a lot of effort for the person organizing it, and it probably entails a lot of frustration as well. So we sat there and we thought there must be a solution like that. Surely somebody thought about it, and we looked and there wasn't. There were businesses which did the card side, but there were no businesses that did the card and the collection together. So we thought at the time, okay, maybe that's a business opportunity. And then COVID hit 3 months later, and we just discussed it again, and we're like, if you don't do it now, we'll never do it. So we got into a profit sharing agreement with a friend of ours because we were quite risk averse. It was considered to be as a
we had jobs
project. We had full-time jobs. We couldn't spend a lot of time building a business. But we didn't have a lot of money to give to the business. So the profit share agreement was actually a really risk-averse way to build the business quickly or build a platform quickly. So he was amazing, and alongside with a brilliant designer who we've worked with before, we've basically built the website within a few weeks. And we launched it, and we had a sale within the first hour. It was a friend of ours, but it didn't matter. We were just buzzing. It was such a great feeling to have created a product to earn money from. And I still value this Fiverr a lot. Like, it was such a special moment. But at that time, and over the next year and a half, Thankbox was still our side project. It was a bit of fun for us, something to excite us, something to try to use as a platform to try new things, to develop our knowledge in different areas. And we loved it, but it was still a side project. But what happened is, because we were the only company that did the two sections together, the cart and the cash collection, it actually grew a lot, and it stole a lot of the market very quickly, which got us to think that maybe this is actually a proper opportunity. It's not a side project anymore. And our customers got so engaged as well that they showed us different paths to how we can grow the business. So excuse me. So at that point, after a year and a half, I had decided to leave Black Circles and take a bit of a break before I started looking into my next opportunity. And during that break that I took, I started working more and more on Thankbox, and I just realized that I really enjoyed it. And we thought, maybe I should postpone looking for another job. And my husband at the time started saying, oh, well, maybe when my contract finishes, it was like another 6 months after that, maybe I can stop looking for a contract and work on Thankbox, and then you can go back to work. So we kind of looked into all the different scenarios there are. And then my husband's contract finished earlier, which we didn't expect. And at the time, I didn't have a job. He didn't have a job. So we just sat there and what do we do? So we went through all of our numbers. It was stressful, I'm not going to lie. It was a lot of tears from me, from the adrenaline of making that decision of what to do. But we decided we're going to give the business 6 months. And if we don't see progress within those 6 months, we'll just leave it and we'll go back into full-time jobs. But if we see progress, then we'll extend it a little bit. And then Thankbox came to us still. Over the next 4 months, nothing happened. We didn't lose customers, but we didn't gain any customers. And we started heavily investing in Thankbox. We hired an SEO person to help us with growing our website. We hired a marketing consultant who helped us with growing socials. We really put 100% of ourselves and our funds into the business. We got into partnership with Bloom and Wild, so we started offering a physical gift along with the card, which was, by the way, something that our customers asked for. And within those 4 months, there was just nothing. Honestly, it was so scary and so nerve-wracking, and we basically thought we're going to give up.
Yeah, I mean, looking back now, do you know why that was, and what year was that? Because I guess I'm thinking you set the business up, like many successful businesses, about timing. And it sounds like you set up the business at the right time, because you set it up just before everyone was working at home and away from the office. So people could no longer hand around cards. People could no longer hand around cash envelopes. So, what a great opportunity for this business. So it's, surprising to hear that then there was a point where just kind of nothing was happening. Do you know kind of why that was now? Or
I think our competitors woke up a little bit, and they started heavily investing in Google advertisements. So ultimately they appeared a lot higher than us. But also at that point, 2 years after we launched, they also added the cash collection to their services. They even used our suppliers. So so that was the time when actually they evened the play field. So and it took us time to understand where our advantage comes from. And I think that's why we saw this stillness over the 4 months. And our efforts into marketing, into building our brand, into talking with our customers, into the partnership with Bloom and Wild is something that over month 5 and 4 and 6 actually showed us growth again. And month 6 was the strongest month that we've ever had with Thankbox, luckily.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was just the timing. Our competitors woke up and they introduced the cash collection again, and it took us time to understand what our next advantage is going to be.
Yeah, and I also want to touch on, I guess, the significant impact that your business has on culture as well. And so, what we're talking about is encouraging appreciation, thankfulness, really, which is a pillar of any good culture in our organisation. Do you want to maybe talk a bit about that, and maybe, I don't know if there's any testimonials or customers or stories that you have that'd be quite interesting around that?
Yeah, of course. We didn't start with that idea. At the beginning, Thankbox was simply aimed to replace the paper card, but our customers showed us that feature of Thankbox, that Thankbox is used as an appreciation platform, and both Val and I feel really strongly about appreciation, showing appreciation, being grateful, and what that means for the person giving appreciation, but also receiving appreciation and their well-being. We both feel really strong about this part, so it was great to see how our business actually aligned with our personal values and our customers aligned with our personal values. And we've got lovely thank boxes which show those amazing teams that are not just teams, they're friends, they're connected within each other, and you feel like, I want to go and work for that team, like I want to be part of that team. There's stand boxes that say, thank you for helping me through a difficult time, thank you for bringing me coffee when I feel down. It doesn't have to be a huge thing.
Can I just ask for people to understand, so are these thank boxes, are these kind of emails that come into people, or is it on a kind of an intranet, like a website that people see kind of a wall of messages? Or?
So it's an online card. So you go on the website, you create your card, you purchase your card, you put your message in, and you send it to the person's email.
Yeah.
And the person receives the email with a lovely card. It looks really nice, but also it depends on how you personalize it, of course. And they can download it, they can save it, keep it forever. But it's online.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
No,
it's just if people had come into this podcast a bit late on.
Yeah, of course.
just to be clear with what it is. Yeah. And I guess, then that maybe takes us to you've decided to go full time because it was seeing progress, and then all of a sudden it didn't, and then you had a very successful month. Going forward from there, what were some milestones that helped you and your husband know? Well, then he became full time as well. Is that right? So, was it the accumulation of more and more clients? Was it volume in thank boxes that kind of, was it those numbers that, you were talking about data earlier on? It was in terms of data numbers to give you guys confidence in going full time. Is that what it was, or other factors?
Do you know, you have to have a lot of trust.
Yeah.
I quite often operate on, you jump in the opportunity and you trust that you will find a way. And because we saw the strong month, we kind of just extended the time for another 3 months, and we continued to see the growth. But by that point, we had nailed our purpose, which was helping teams show appreciation to each other, because we believe that this is crucial for building the right culture, crucial for teams that work remote or hybrid or just don't have that physical connection anymore. We strongly believe that this is what Thankbox is meant to deliver. And that resonates with a lot more customers. We start investing a lot in marketing, we start investing a lot in PR and talking about the appreciation as a tool to keep your employees engaged. And we started seeing a lot of businesses using us at that point as well. A lot of businesses started using us for onboarding, because I think a lot of businesses are concentrated on the technical side of onboarding, making sure that everyone's got their laptop in their space, etc. But I don't think a lot of them appreciate the importance of making somebody feel welcomed and wanted in the team, and how that creates a whole different atmosphere for that person. So we see a lot of Thankboxes welcoming new team members and saying things like, "You're a lifesaver, we've waited for you all of our lives," etc., which is something that if you receive, you immediately forget the nerves around starting a new business and not knowing everyone when you know that you're wanted in that team.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on, from my perspective, being a recruitment consultant and getting, helping assist people into new jobs. Wherever a company does, that individual might have 1 month, 3 month notice period. If a company makes an effort to meet that person in their notice period for a coffee or something, that's amazing. Most cases it doesn't happen just because I guess they're busy with their job, but it's amazing when they do that. So if anyone's listening is doing hiring, maybe a good addition or substitute is to send a Thankbox and for that individual, because a month or 3 months can feel like a long time. Just to kind of send a note. We're still really excited, because I think what some people don't realise is who accept the job is that teams are already talking about them joining and making plans based on them joining, but they're not privy to those conversations because they're working a notice period at another company. So they had a Thankbox. I'm just pitching your business to listeners at the moment.
Thank you for that. Yeah, no, but you're 100% right. Like, it makes such a big difference, and we have a lot of recipients coming to us saying that it definitely made a difference for me. I felt so much calmer going into the business and feeling so welcome and wanted. It's a completely different game change. And then if you feel so welcome into the team, you're probably going to stay for longer, and that helps the business as well. It helps the business with transition and new hires.
Yeah. Now, as a business owner as well, there's obviously a lot of highs and excitement, but there can be some challenges. What challenges do you maybe find in having your business?
I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Pick out a couple.
Fear is probably a big one for me, and it comes in so many different shapes and forms. It could be fear of making a mistake, fear of appearing that I don't know what I'm talking about, fear of putting myself out there, fear even of going to a networking event and talking about my business. I had to overcome a lot of that fear just to be able to get out there and start growing the business, and kind of just get comfortable with the uncomfortable. There's a lot of things that are uncomfortable when running a business. You're having to do a lot of new tasks that you've never done, having to come up with the next amazing thing that's going to bring your business forward. And all of that is uncomfortable. So finding a bit of comfort into constantly feeling imperfect and uncomfortable is really key when running your business. And it took me a long time, and I don't think I've nailed it yet. I think it's work in progress. It takes a lot of time. But for me personally as well, it took me a lot of time to get used to the idea that I'm not just a finance professional anymore.
Yeah.
I wear lots of different hats. I look after marketing, I look after campaigns, strategy, customers. It's just such a big variety of tasks, and the feeling that, am I just becoming unemployable now? Because ultimately I don't do that much finance anymore, so I don't know if I can find a job in finance. So that was another transition that happened in my brain that I had to get comfortable with, that I'm giving this a try and I'm going to give it all, and I'm going to wear all those different hats, and whatever happens, happens. And we're back to that. Just jump at the opportunity and trust that you will find a way. There's a lot of doubt as well. Am I the best person? Am I making the right decision? Ultimately, there's people depending on you, that you're depending on your decisions. It's a big responsibility, but a lot of nice things come with it. And I guess one of it is flexibility. You get to choose your time. You get the flexibility to make the decisions that you want and to work on the projects that you really feel passionate about, which is incredible as well.
I think, what you're saying there is, I think your working experience, audit, finance, can help you only so much. There comes a point where it is all down to you and, your own confidence or your own boldness to your own bravery to go out there and start something and pursue something. So if individuals are listening to this who are currently in professional services or are in finance and they've got aspirations to do their own business, maybe they have started it on the side for now, would you say that for it to grow, they obviously need to see the business growing and performing well, but there will be a point where they just need to put their faith in it and go all in?
Yes, of course. Like at some point you have to do it, because if you've got the backup plan, then you're never 100% into your plan A.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to close the door to plan B and concentrate fully on plan A for it to succeed.
Yep.
Otherwise you're always like 10% of you're always sitting somewhere else.
Yeah. And I mean, you are all in, right? And your business is about helping to encourage appreciation and also kind of mental health well-being. For you, working mum, working with your husband, trying to grow your business, how do you switch off? Or do you get any time to work on your own mental health, your own well-being, as well?
I'm not great at it, I'm not gonna lie. I need to become better at it. I know where my limits are. I know where I'm getting to a point where I just can't handle more stress or more workload. But I need to be better at just taking the time to stop now and to go take a walk. Walk for me is 100% helpful. So I definitely need to get better at stopping. I think I've nailed the fact that sometimes when I'm stuck on a problem, I leave it for a few days and go back to it, trusting that I will find a way with a fresher brain. But then I go back to a different problem.
Yeah.
So I need to get better at stopping. I think being a mum and a business owner makes me really laser focused, because I know the priority for me is spending time with my daughter, watching her grow up, teaching her new things. So I know that I have to be really laser focused on the business when I'm working on the business. So I get to do all those things with her.
Yeah.
But it's really important as a business owner, you can get quite lonely. And I talk to my husband a lot, which I'm very lucky that I have the opportunity to do that. But I also go into a co-working space twice a week where I meet peers and I talk to them and I treat them as my work buddies, as you would normally have at work. But lots of people are lonely. Lots of people are struggling with feeling disconnected at their workplaces. And I think that's why for the month of October, we're partnering with Mental Health UK. On the 10th of October is World Mental Health Day, and the topic this month is mental health at work. We strongly believe that showing appreciation, showing this gratitude can make you feel a lot better at work and hence enhance your well-being. So for the month of October, we've pledged to donate 100% of the proceeds for the Appreciation Ripple campaign. We call it Appreciation Ripple. We're encouraging people to send thank boxes to somebody who's made a difference to their day. Doesn't matter if it's just a cup of coffee or something bigger. Doesn't matter really. Just make them aware that they are seen, that they're valued, and the person sending it will feel better and the person receiving it will feel better. And again, all the proceeds from those thank boxes sent will go straight to Mental Health UK and in support of their vital cause. That's great. And is there a link that I could include on the podcast release as well? So we'll do that. And so just to wrap up, the next 12 months, what are your personal goals and professional goals? There's lots going on with Thankbox, lots of new partnerships coming up. A lot of customers are feeding back on new things that they want. So we're working on them. They're already in plan. Such as new drink edition or printing. There's lots of exciting opportunities for us in the next 12 months. And personally, I think I just need to become better at managing breaks alongside work. I think that's very key for me. Well, good luck with that. And it's something that I hear from many people that are business owners or partners in firms as well. So, I think just being focused on it, will help you make those changes. So, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great to hear about Thankbox and your journey. Thanks for having me. It was really great fun. Thanks. Thank you for listening to the Professional Speaks podcast. This podcast was produced by Springwood Studio Productions. Remember, you can watch the episode recording on our YouTube channel, and if you can, please do subscribe and share with all of your friends.
The more people who listen to this, the more guests we can have on to share so that you can learn, be inspired, grow, and ultimately succeed in what you want to achieve in your career. Please also contact me if you have any feedback on this episode. I'd love to hear from you.